There is a question that jolts a lot of people, yet quietly taps on your mind from the very first seconds of this video. If you don't eat anything for many days in a row, does your body slowly die? Or does it begin to operate in a completely different way? Most of us grew up believing that skipping a single meal is bad for your health, that 3 days without food is dangerous, and that weeks without eating must be self-destruction. But biological science tells a different story, a slow, cold, and very logical one. The human body was not designed for constant abundance like modern life provides. It was designed to survive when food disappears. In the first 8 to 12 hours without eating, you feel hungry, restless, uncomfortable. Many people think this is their energy crashing. But in reality, it's simply the body burning through the sugar stored in the liver. When that reserve runs out, a very ancient biological switch flips. Insulin drops sharply. The body stops storing and begins shifting into survival mode. And right here, something most people don't expect happens. The brain does not collapse the way you imagine. From the second day onward, the body produces ketones, an alternative fuel to glucose. Ketones are not an emergency backup. They are a high-grade fuel. The brain, the most energy-hungry organ in the body, actually runs very efficiently on ketones. Many people describe this phase as strangely different. Clearer thinking, sharper focus, fewer emotional swings. Not everyone experiences it the same way, but science shows this is not an illusion. Ketones stimulate the increase of an important brain protein, BDNF, which is directly linked to learning, memory, and emotional stability. And then comes something that shocks many people. Hunger can disappear. Not because the body has given up, but because hunger hormones drop. The body understands that food isn't coming, and screaming is pointless. It shifts into an energy-saving, stable, enduring mode. This is why many people during longer fasts feel less discomfort than expected, sometimes even mentally lighter than during chaotic eating patterns. But this is where I need to speak plainly and realistically, so this video doesn't turn into a dangerous fairy tale. Fasting is not a miracle. It is a temporary biological state. The body can adapt, but that does not mean there is no cost. If you remain inactive, without even light movement, muscle will be broken down. If fasting goes on too long when body fat has dropped too low, the body will begin taking protein from the heart and vital organs. That is a very dangerous boundary. One crucial insight modern life often ignores is this. The biggest problem today is not eating too much or too little, but losing metabolic flexibility. We eat constantly. Insulin stays high, and the body is never allowed to power down for repair. Fasting, when done correctly, briefly, and safely, is simply a way for the body to remember an old skill it was once very good at. And for that reason, fasting is not for everyone. People with underlying conditions, those on medication, those with eating disorders, or those forcing themselves to fast out of weight loss pressure are moving in the wrong direction. Your body does not need punishment to change. It needs safety signals and consistency. If you're still watching at this point, I'm genuinely curious. Have you ever fasted? 1 day, 2 days, or never dared to try? Leave a comment not to show off endurance, but to share real experience. And if this video helps you see your body through a more scientific lens, with less fear, hit subscribe. This channel doesn't promise miracles. It promises the truth slowly, grounded in biology, and deep enough for you to make your own decisions. There is a very quiet fear that many people can't quite name, yet they carry it with them every time they hear the words fasting. It's not the fear of hunger. It's the fear of losing control, fear that the body will grow weak, fear of doing something wrong and not being able to come back from it. And that fear makes sense, because we live in an era where the body is almost never allowed to be silent. We eat not because we're hungry, but because of the clock, because of habit, because of emotion, because of stress. And when the body sends signals of fatigue, we try to fix it with more coffee, more sugar, more artificial motivation. What's interesting is that when food disappears, much of the noise in the system disappears with it. Not immediately, not comfortably at first, but after a few days, the body begins speaking to you in a different voice. Less panic, less pressure. One detail that very few people notice is that fasting isn't just about energy, it's about hormones and information. When insulin drops, the brain starts to hear fullness signals from leptin again. When hunger hormones are no longer constantly stimulated, you realize that before, you weren't eating because you needed to, but because your system was overloaded with noise. And this is the moment many people describe as both frightening and freeing. For the first time in a long while, thoughts about food stop dominating the entire day. But right here, the biggest misunderstanding appears. Many people assume that this sense of lightness means it should be extended as long as possible. Science disagrees. The human body is very good at adapting, but it was not designed to stay in scarcity forever. When fat reserves fall below a safe threshold, survival strategy changes. Protein begins to be taken from muscle, from the heart, and at that point, all previous benefits lose their meaning. What's more worth reflecting on is not how long to fast, but why we've lost the ability to sense hunger and fullness normally. Many people no longer know what true hunger feels like, what stress-related fatigue feels like, or what boredom that needs movement feels like. Fasting, when done correctly, only acts as a temporary reset button, allowing you to hear your body more clearly, not to escape from it. A very practical insight from real life is this: the people who benefit most from fasting are not those who fast the longest, but those who know when to stop and return to eating with awareness. They don't go back to mindless eating. They eat more slowly. They eat less without forcing themselves. Not because of iron discipline, but because hormones have stopped creating chaos. If you're watching to this point, you're probably not looking for an extreme method. You're simply trying to understand your body better, so you don't have to fight it every day. And that's the right direction. Share in the comments. What exhausts you the most about your current relationship with food? No need for a polished answer. Honest answers help others realize they're not alone. And if you want to continue conversations like this without judgment, without exaggeration, grounded only in biology and real experience, subscribe. Here, we don't teach you how to control your body. We learn how to work with it. There is a very specific phase that, if you're in it, you'll immediately know what I'm talking about. It's when your body is no longer screaming with hunger, but your mind starts whispering strange questions. The intense cravings are gone, yet you're not fully at ease. You feel clearer, lighter, and at the same time uneasy. Is this state normal, or have I pushed too far? This is the gray zone that many people step into, and then don't know what to do next. Around you, no one speaks about it honestly. Some encourage you to go further, to fast longer, to push through for the benefits. Others warn that you're destroying your body, and your body itself stays quiet. That silence is both comforting and unsettling. What you need to understand in this phase is this: feeling okay does not mean it should continue indefinitely. Your body is functioning efficiently not because it wants you to stay here forever, but because it has shifted into a very sophisticated, temporary survival configuration. Heart rate, hormones, and energy use are all optimized for conservation. You're not weaker, but you're also not stronger in a long-term sense. This is a borrowed state, not a place to live. Many people at this stage start judging themselves by how long they can endure. And that is the most dangerous psychological trap. When fasting becomes a measure of worth, you're no longer listening to biology, you're chasing the ego. Your body doesn't care who you outperform. It only cares about when to stop to avoid damage. One very subtle sign that few people notice: when you begin to lose sensitivity to small signals, feeling cold, mild fatigue, slight shortness of breath during movement that's not breaking through, it's the nervous system reducing sensitivity to conserve energy. This is not the moment to prove toughness. This is the moment to respect limits. The truth is, many of the benefits people seek from fasting are not found in extending it a few more days, but in how you return to eating. If you return in panic, eating rapidly, overeating, blaming yourself, those benefits disappear quickly. If you return slowly, eating when you're truly hungry, chewing carefully, choosing simple foods, the body remembers the experience as a safety signal rather than a crisis. If you're in this phase, remember one very important thing. Stopping is not failure. Stopping at the right time is a sign of understanding. Your body doesn't need another challenge. It needs you clear-headed enough not to turn a biological tool into a psychological battle. Leave a comment. If you're in the middle of this journey, you don't need to say how long you fasted, only how you feel. Many people watching this video are quietly in the same place, and if you want to continue content made for those who are in between, not beginners, not extremists, subscribe. Here, we don't celebrate endurance, we celebrate understanding at the right moment. And before this video ends, I want you to pause for just a single beat, not to decide what to do next, but to look back at yourself in this moment. If you've stayed with me until here, you're probably not watching out of curiosity. You're watching because your body has been whispering something, and you're trying to listen seriously. Maybe you're tired. Not the kind of tired that more sleep fixes, but the kind that comes from constant control. From always being afraid of doing something wrong. Maybe you've been disappointed in yourself many times when it comes to food, weight, health, and maybe, for the first time in a long while, you're beginning to feel that your body isn't the enemy, just a biological system trying to survive in a world that's far too loud. If there's one thing I hope you take with you after this video, it's this. Your body does not need to be conquered. It needs to be understood. It doesn't need more pressure, more iron discipline, more extreme promises. It needs patience, respect, and decisions clear-headed enough not to harm it while believing you're improving. You are not losing if you stop. You are not weak if you listen. You're simply learning how to live in your body with more kindness. And that is a very rare skill in this era. Thank you for staying until the final seconds. If this video made you feel seen, understood, or even just a little less alone, leave a comment, even if it's just a single dot. And if you want to continue these slow, thoughtful, non-judgmental conversations, subscribe. We don't need to move fast, we just need to move right.